Right now at 5, after the death of a Sauk County student, state officials are working on a new bill that would increase penalties for drivers who fail to stop for school buses. Plus, as the summer travel season begins, law enforcement officials begin their annual campaign urging drivers to buckle up on our roads. And a Florida man stops in Wisconsin on his way to break a pickleball record. You're watching News 3 Now at 5. In the days after a student was killed while waiting to board a school bus just outside Reedsburg, that community tries to come to grips with that tragedy. At the state level, there's a bill circulating that would increase penalties for people failing to stop for school buses. Our Catherine Merck joins us now with more from the Reedsburg student's mother about this crash. Catherine.
Hundreds of school children like Evelyn Gurney are killed or seriously injured by drivers who don't yield to stop school buses. Lawmakers say a 2022 survey of school bus drivers found that 40% of respondents from Wisconsin reportedly being illegally passed at least once a year. After a student died while she was getting on a school bus in Reedsburg, school bus safety is at the top of mind for many. The new legislation would increase penalties for failing to stop for a school bus that is stopped and flashing its red lights. It also would increase current fines from $30 to $300 to $300 to $1,000, plus court costs. I reached out to one state senator corresponding for this bill today, who said, quote, each year we hear stories about reckless drivers passing school buses and endangering our children. This change will not only hold Wisconsin drivers accountable, but also protect our kids. For the past couple of days, we've seen an overwhelming amount of support to the family of Evelyn Gurney, the student who died in that crash in Reedsburg. I reached out to her mother, who shared the following statement about the proposed legislation with me, saying in part, we just want to make sure our kids can get to school without fear. What happened was a tragic accident, and no laws could have changed that. According to the lawmakers behind this bill, the penalty for these violations has not increased since the State Budget Act 27 in 1983.
Catherine, thank you. And donations are still being collected for the Gurney family through a GoFundMe. So far, more than $82,000 has been raised. And if you'd like to donate, look for this story at channel3000.com. Now to weather. Temperatures could cool down a bit tomorrow. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti on the weather patio, and he has more details. Gary?
Eric, actually, they'll cool down later on this evening as what we call a pneumonia front drops southward along Lake Michigan, and there's really cool temperatures off near the Lake Michigan shoreline. The drop won't be quite as dramatic here. Notice that band of white that's just kind of shifting southward through Wisconsin. A lot of that is wildfire smoke from southern portions of Canada that's made it into the southern portion of Wisconsin, and we'll see that again for the day tomorrow. High-resolution radar doesn't show any rain out there right now, although 6-hour future track radar can't rule out an isolated shower at some point early this evening as that cold front drops southeastward. But take a look at what's happened to temperatures. They started out in the 40s to around 50 degrees over the last 12 hours. They got up to around 80 degrees, but watch what happens. That's at 2 o'clock. Notice near Lake Michigan, those temperatures have dropped off. Milwaukee went from 80 to 55 degrees. Madison still at 78. That cooler air will work its way inward. You can see here in Dane County, we're still pretty mild. 79 degrees in Middleton, 76 degrees in McFarland. But look for those temperatures to drop into the upper 50s by late evening. Got just an outside chance for a shower this evening. Later on, I'll take a look at a forecast that includes a little better chance for rain as we head from Thursday into Thursday night.
Gary, thank you. The state Supreme Court ruled an amendment to the state constitution expanding crime victims' rights was properly worded on a statewide referendum and legally adopted. The court voted 6-1 to overturn a Dane County judge's decision that the ballot description for Marcy's Law didn't adequately inform voters that it would diminish criminal defendants' rights. Voters ratified Marcy's Law back in April of 2020, adding it to the Constitution. The amendment expands a host of victims' rights, granting them the right to seal information or records that could be used to locate them, and the right to be heard at plea and parole hearings. They also can opt out of participating in depositions conducted by defense attorneys or opposing attorneys in civil matters, making it harder for criminal defendants to sue them. A mobile home was destroyed after a fire broke out at a campground outside Portage. Crews were called to the Pride of America campground. This was just after 2:30 this morning for a report of a camper that was fully engulfed. Firefighters were able to put out the fire, but the home now considered a total loss, and 2 other homes had some minor damage. No injuries were reported, but it's unclear what caused that fire. At the Capitol today, the Budget Writing Committee approved significant pay raises for prosecutors and public defenders. With more on what that means, political reporter Will Keneally now live at the Capitol. Will?
Eric, criminal justice advocates have been pushing for these raises for a long time and calling today's investment historic.
I feel really, really good
Kelly Thompson is the head of state public defenders and called today's vote historic to increase pay for her PDs and prosecutors on the other side of the courtroom.
We understand that you need all legs of the stool and all parts of the system to be funded appropriately.
Both prosecutors and public defenders in Wisconsin will get a pay raise of $8.76 per hour, increasing starting pay to $36 an hour. In an annual salary, that looks like an increase from $57,000 to $75,000. And it levels the playing field between prosecutors and public defenders, which Thompson says is important.
Both sides are so critically important. We don't want one to be the training ground for the other. It's important that we are able to recruit and retain our own staff, and it's very important for the prosecutors to be able to recruit and retain their staff.
The vote today also increases the rate the state pays to private attorneys who take public defender cases, as well as increasing their travel reimbursement.
Okay, motion number 49 by Wimberger and Kurtz. Passes unanimously 16-0.
And it was a rare bipartisan moment as Democrats joined Republicans in supporting the measure.
I'm going to vote yes on this motion, support what the Republicans have put forward. But remember, we do have more work to do to support the agencies. We are going above and beyond what the governor requested. And I think at the end of this motion, this is going to be a unanimous vote, as it should be, to show our support for the criminal justice system and the great work that our district attorneys and public defenders do.
As Representative Tony Kurtz mentions there, the governor in his budget draft actually asked for a lower raise for those attorneys, which the Republican-controlled committee there exceeded. Reporting from the Capitol, Will Keneally, News 3 Now.
Will, thank you. This week, the Wisconsin State Patrol will conduct traffic enforcement from the skies above south central Wisconsin. Aerial enforcement planned for Interstate 3990 in Rock County today, Dane County on Friday. Officials say the aerial view will make it easier to spot drivers who are speeding and driving aggressively. When they see a violator from above, they'll radio a trooper on the ground. And this summer, travel season begins soon, and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is kicking off its annual Click It or Ticket campaign, urging drivers and passengers to buckle up. Officials say the number of deaths in passenger vehicles has increased every year from 2018 to 2021. Half of the deaths in 2021 were due to people not wearing seatbelts. A recent study also reveals unrestrained pickup truck drivers and passengers have had the highest percentage of fatalities for nearly 2 decades.
Choosing not to wear a seatbelt can have deadly consequences, no matter how close you are to home or where you're seated in the car.
Now, the good news is most Americans seem to be getting the message. 92% buckled up last year. The campaign runs nation and statewide from May 22nd through June 4th. Investigators are trying to find a motive for yet another mass shooting, this time in New Mexico. They say the teen gunman indiscriminately shot at homes and vehicles before he was killed by police. Gloria Pasmino has the latest.
Finding a bullet hole through your daughter's window was just like, my gosh.
More questions than answers a day after a teenage gunman killed 3 people and wounded 6 others in a Farmington, New Mexico neighborhood.
The suspect roamed throughout the neighborhood up to a quarter of a mile. At least 6 houses and 3 cars were shot in the course of the event.
So far, authorities say the suspect was armed with at least 3 guns, including an AR-15 style rifle.
This is the room, went through right there.
It was traumatic to be barricaded in your laundry room with your daughter, who's 1.
Law enforcement arrived 5 minutes after the first call. Within 3 minutes, they exchanged gunfire with the suspect, killing him on the scene.
We are doing the best that we can to piece through and talk with family members of the suspect, piece through what was going on, look at the evidence to see if we can figure out what the motivation was.
Among the injured are a New Mexico State police officer hospitalized in stable condition at last check, and a Farmington officer who was treated and released. The New Mexico shooting marks the 225th mass shooting in the first 20 weeks of the year, according to the Gun Violence Archive. I'm Gloria Pasmino reporting.
And right now, the conditions of the remaining victims are unclear. Meanwhile, in Texas, a 12-year-old is being charged with murder after police say he shot and killed a restaurant worker. Police were called to a Sonic drive-in outside Fort Worth last Saturday. They arrived to find an employee with multiple gunshot wounds. He later died. Officers say the employee had gotten into an argument with a 20-year-old man who was being disorderly in the parking lot. That's when a 12-year-old pulled out an AR-15 style gun and fired at least 6 shots. Both the child and the 20-year-old were arrested. Happening tomorrow, the U.S. Senate will vote on a GOP-led resolution to block a Washington, D.C. policing bill. The D.C. Council bill that the resolution aims to block includes provisions related to improving police accountability and transparency, officer discipline, use of force reforms, and improving access to body camera recordings. Republicans have argued the bill weakens the power of law enforcement officers to actively and effectively respond to crime, labeling it an anti-police law. D.C. city leaders say the resolution has no legal consequences because the policing measure is already law. Tariffs on solar panels from Cambodia, Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam will remain suspended. That's after the president vetoed a resolution that would have lifted a temporary Commerce Department rule. In a statement, the president says he wants to reimpose those tariffs starting next June. And until then, he wants to give American manufacturers time to ramp up production with a projected 8-fold increase by Inauguration Day. Next at 5, talks resume on the nation's debt limit as a deadline nears. And we'll meet a Florida man who's attempting to break a pickleball record. His story when we return, and later a new Jeep recall to warn you about. Details coming up tonight on News 3 Now at 6. And a look at Tuesday trading on Wall Street revealing more red numbers. The Dow falling more than 336 points. The Nasdaq off 22. The S&P 500 loses 26. And we'll be right back.
Whether your project is large or small, get 11% off it all at Menards. From aerosols, floor coating, stains, and more, our paint department has the quality Rust-Oleum products you need to bring your project to life. Rust-Oleum Stops Rust 5-in-1 spray paint is the first ever adjustable spray paint can. Choose from 5 different spray settings, so you can get a professional finish on every project. A can is just $5.95 each after 11% rebate.
Save big money at Menards.
Celebrate Memorial Day at Brothers Maine, where unbeatable appliance deals come with expert advice. Enjoy special prices and free delivery on top brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, and KitchenAid. Visit us today and feel like family at Brothers Maine.
I've never been afraid to express myself, to create a life I love. I worried cancer could steal my spark and become my identity. But UW Health designed custom treatments just for me. And now, my legacy, it's still in the making. Because standard, well, that's never been my style. UW Health, remarkable.
We're kicking off Bob's Summer of Savings in all my stores coast to coast this Memorial Day weekend. Celebrating over 30 years of furniture fun in my now 165 stores across the United States. So come join the party, because I've got new collections you won't want to miss and treats for the whole fam. Plus, get Bob's discount on my highly rated furniture, mattresses, and more, with financing options to fit your budget. Get your home summer ready during Bob's Summer of Savings this Memorial Day weekend. I've saved you a seat at the party, and a sofa, and a bed, and a
Join the circle of life at the Lion King. Now on stage at Overture Center through May 28th only. Get your tickets today at overture.org.
A pickleball enthusiast attempts to break a world record as he takes to the court in Wisconsin. We'll hear about his journey. And Madison brings the first professional women's soccer team to Wisconsin. How this achievement will shape the game and the city tonight at 6.
Show us your weather photos, and you could win a First Warn weather umbrella. Send us your weather pics in an email or on the First Warn weather app. We'll select and showcase the winning entries each day on News 3 Now this morning and News 3 Now at 6. Send in your pics to win a First Warn weather umbrella today.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
A man from Florida is working to break a world record by doing 2 of his favorite hobbies, pickleball and flying. And today he came to Sun Prairie as part of that record-breaking attempt. The Kyle Pozorski is live there in Sun Prairie with more. Kyle?
Well, Eric, right now people are just enjoying the pickleball courts with the great weather that we had today. Earlier today, Dean Matt, who's a pilot, he came here to Whiteham Hills pickleball courts to really just take part in this world record attempt where he's trying to go to 48 states in 48 days. It's called the 48-48-48 Pickleball Challenge. We spoke with him after his Wisconsin match here in Sun Prairie about why he chose to take on such a challenge.
It was really just an excuse to come out to visit, to tell 48 stories. So I've been flying since high school, so I've seen a lot of the country, but not this compact. So I'll be getting 48 states in about 26 days.
He went on to tell us that the people here at Whiteham Hills were just fantastic. It was actually quite a large crowd this afternoon, all here to take part in the record-breaking attempt. And he took off right after the match ended. As you can imagine, he has quite a busy journey ahead of him going forward in the next couple of days. He's already halfway through his journey, so he still has a lot more to go, but not all the way there just yet. So now he's traveling to stop number 27 in Chicago, and he's hoping to complete the challenge in 26 days. Reporting here in Sun Prairie, Kyle Bzurski, News 3 Now.
Kyle, thank you. And more exciting news for the city of Madison. It'll soon have a professional women's soccer team. The USL Super League made that announcement on social media this morning, along with a dozen other clubs that'll be part of the new league. The team, temporarily simply known as Madison Women's Pro Soccer, will be the first professional women's soccer team in the state of Wisconsin. The First Division League will launch with 10 to 12 teams next year and will officially kick off in 2025. Talks resumed today between President Biden and congressional leaders about the nation's debt ceiling. Time is running out to reach a deal, but Nicole D'Antonio tells us progress is being made.
We're having a wonderful time.
President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris sat down with congressional leaders at the White House to try to hash out differences on the debt limit.
It is possible to get a deal by the end of the week. It's not that difficult to get to an agreement.
The leaders are honing in on possible areas of agreement, including rescinding unspent COVID relief money and areas where there's a wider gap, like beefing up work requirements for government aid recipients and student debt relief.
It was a good and productive meeting. Everyone agreed that default would be the worst outcome, a horrible situation for America and America's families.
A group of demonstrators protested the risk of a default outside of congressional offices. In a letter, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen told lawmakers the U.S. could run out of cash as early as June 1st. Both sides say they want an agreement before the deadline.
Why are they waiting till the midnight hour? Why is the president's known about this date too?
There are warnings that defaulting on federal debt will lead to an economic meltdown.
The only group of people in Washington threatening a default are House Republicans.
The clock is ticking on this showdown. President Biden leaves for Japan Wednesday, but CBS News has learned he's cutting the rest of his international trip short because of the looming deadline. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, the White House.
Speaker McCarthy said after the meeting, President Biden picked two people from his administration to directly negotiate with Republicans. Well, let's get a look at your first warn forecast now. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti has all the details. Gary?
Well, temperatures will turn cooler later on tonight, and we'll see our temperatures drop a bit for tomorrow. Three things you need to know in the forecast. We're back to the 60s on Wednesday, but upper 60s, so it'll still feel pretty nice. But we'll also see more smoke from the wildfires overhead. This smoke is actually originating in southern Canada and traveling all the way down into the Midwest. It'll be mild with high temperatures in the mid to upper 70s as we head into Thursday, but showers and thunderstorms developing northwest of Madison late in the day on Thursday will move in for Thursday night, drop our temperatures a bit for Friday with a chance of showers continuing. But then dry weather moves in by the weekend and continues through most of next week with temperatures back to around 80 or above by the middle and latter part of next week. High resolution radar, nothing showing up there. You can kind of pick out, this isn't really rain. That's actually the leading edge of the cooler air that's working its way inland from Milwaukee and the areas near Lake Michigan, but you can see no precipitation really across the pretty much the entire upper Midwest. Now, it's possible there could be a stray shower that pokes up along that front, but you can see the difference in temperatures. Milwaukee was at 80 earlier. They've dropped to 55. That's a 25-degree temperature drop in about 4 hours. Green Bay at 63, but on the other side of the front, Madison's at 78 degrees, La Crosse near 80 degrees. But eventually that cooler air will work in. The temperature drop won't be quite as dramatic across our viewing area, but you can see across the Midwest, temperatures are generally pretty comfortable. 70s, 60s where there's cloud cover and showers, but to the north and west, it's actually a little bit warmer with temperatures up around 80 degrees. Visible cloud track, you can see the smoke from the wildfires up in southwestern Canada. Eventually that gets pulled down by the upper level winds into the Midwest right along that cold front, and you can see that haze from the smoke, even ash falling out of the sky as far south as the Duluth Superior area. But right now you can see the upper level winds from the northwest. That's what's transporting that smoke down in our direction, but not a lot in the way of regular cloud cover. And you can see the front right here. Again, that could pop up a stray shower as it moves on through. On the other side of the front, temperatures are still pretty mild, but as we look at future track, you can see the sky's clearing out overnight, and we'll see plenty of sunshine for tomorrow, although, again, it'll be mixed with some haze from the wildfires. Planning your night, look for a low of 40 in Madison, 40 in Fitchburg, 40 in Middleton with clear to partly cloudy skies, and then across the rest of southern Wisconsin, low 39 in Watertown, 47 in Platteville, and 50 in Prairie du Chien. Again, the cooling won't be quite as dramatic to our south and to our west. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, cooler. Just that wildfire haze overhead with a high of 68. Future track precipitation, this is from late Thursday afternoon through Thursday night and into early Friday. Could see about maybe a quarter to a half inch of rain. A few spots could see a little bit more if you get caught in a heavier thunderstorm. Our first warned 7 to 10 day forecast. Shower chances linger into Friday, but then after that, the weather really nice. High temperatures just above 70 for the weekend with lots of sunshine into early next week. Then mid 70s on Tuesday, around 80 on Wednesday. Some thunderstorm chances toward the end of the week as we head toward the Memorial Day weekend, but highs will be in the lower 80s. As we check out first warned traffic right now, the Beltline has just a bit of a slowdown eastbound approaching Stoughton Road. Earlier it was around Monona Drive, but that has shifted a little bit farther to the east, so it's a little longer trip on the eastbound Beltline, a 21-minute trip from University Avenue to the interstate. The normal 15 minutes going back in the westbound direction. Heading inbound from Sun Prairie to downtown will take you 18 minutes. Outbound Beltline to Janesville on 3990 takes you 25 minutes, 16 minutes Middleton to Sauk City on US 12, and downtown to Sun Prairie on East Washington Avenue and US 151 is a 19-minute trip. That's your News 3 Now first warned traffic.
Gary, thank you. Dane County kicked off its new season of climate change mitigation project to reduce the Yahara Lake's flooding risk. Crews will work at dredging 2 separate locations this year to help improve water flow, flood storage capacity, and the fish and wildlife habitat in the Yahara Lakes.
So what we're seeing here is sort of the finished project of a lot of site preparation, a lot of permitting work, a lot of analysis, and then when you get down to being able to move forward, it's really rewarding to see.
And to date, Dane County has removed approximately 73,000 cubic yards, or about 5,500 dump truck loads of sediment from the Yahara chain of lakes through this initiative. Coming up, lawmakers take on artificial intelligence. What has senators and industry experts so concerned? That's next at 5.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
It's Green Tag savings time now at Sloan Implement. Get your John Deere S200 series with 4.9% for 60 months. Or John Deere X3s, 5s, and 7s with 1.9% for 48 months.
Hire up with Sloan's.
Think Sloan's first.
At Foster Funeral and Cremation Services, we honor legacies. Let us take care of the arrangement so you can focus on saying goodbye. Veteran owned and operated. Experience exceptional care and affordable service with Foster Funeral and Cremation Services.
The Chevy RS family of SUVs has it all. Whether you want the 10.2-inch diagonal color touchscreen on Blazer or extra peace of mind with Chevy Safety Assist, standard on the 2023 Chevy family of SUVs. So take your pick. The choice is yours. Spring into adventure and get 1.9% financing on all 2023 Equinox models. Or get $1,500 cash allowance. Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in Wisconsin.
Wow, this is where you work now?
Figured I deserved a more inspiring space.
And with home values being up, I had a lot of equity. So I got a home equity line of credit from Summit, and voila, added a home office.
Took your business to the next level.
Hey, you two have been in your place for a couple years now. Any fun plans?
Well, we just finished a refi with Summit.
Really?
And the plan is to make a bunch of great memories.
We're gonna use the savings to get a camper.
Whatever your goals, Summit Credit Union can help you use your home's equity to go get them.
What's your lawn care plan for the summer? Having a Maple Leaf lawn care maintenance program means a better-looking lawn and more free time for you. Check our website for special discounts and leave the yard work to Maple Leaf, your year-round property care experts.
You want it, we got it, it's all here. Rosemont it. You want the night lights, the bright lights, I'll put you in the spotlight, light. Yeah. You want style? Well, now I'll show you where you gotta be. Tell you what you gotta see. Ooh, it's gonna make you smile. You want it, we got it, it's all here. Rosemont.
Summertime fun is in full swing in Rosemont. From grand slams to hot jams. To Rosemont it your way, start at rosemont.com.
Rosemont it.
Recent hailstorms in your neighborhood may have caused damage to your roof. Don't let fly-by-night, out-of-the-state, inexperienced roofers rip you off. Who should you trust to fix your roof and do it right? Fry Construction. For more than 20 years, Fry Construction and Home Improvement has continued to earn the trust of area homeowners. And when the roof over your family is damaged, we jump into action. After all, we're your neighbor too. Call Fry Construction and Home Improvement now to get your free hail inspection.
It's Green Tag savings time now at Sloan Implement. Get your John Deere Z500 with 1.9% for 48 months or John Deere Z700s with 2.9% for 60 months.
Power up with Sloan's.
Think Sloan's first.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Lawmakers have called for more rules and regulation around artificial intelligence, but first, they need to understand it. The CEO behind ChatGPT made his first appearance on Capitol Hill since the viral chatbot started making waves. Karen Kafa explains what the tech industry sees as the greatest risks.
The next big thing in technology is already here, and Congress is playing catch up.
Too often, we have seen what happens when technology outpaces regulation.
A Senate Judiciary Subcommittee hearing kicking off Tuesday with those AI-generated remarks. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman testifying amid concerns sparked in part by the technology behind his company's chatbot tool, ChatGPT.
My worst fears are that we cause significant harm to the world.
Artificial intelligence has generated many fears, replacing or disrupting human jobs, spreading misinformation, perpetuating biases, becoming too prolific or powerful.
I think if this technology goes wrong, it can go quite wrong.
And it's strong skepticism from the public, lawmakers, and even the tech industry.
I can't recall when we've had people representing large corporations come before us and plead with us to regulate them.
Altman said he is mindful of the risks, but there are benefits to pursuing the technology responsibly.
We are working to build tools that one day can help us make new discoveries and address some of humanity's biggest challenges, like climate change and curing cancer.
Lawmakers noting the federal government's failure to regulate social media, serving as a wake-up call.
Sensible safeguards are not in opposition to innovation.
As AI's real potential remains uncertain.
What kind of an innovation is it going to be? Is it going to be like the printing press, or is it going to be more like the atom bomb?
In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
And job loss is among one of the biggest concerns here, with experts saying it may eventually automate away some jobs entirely. And we'll have a final check of your First Warn forecast after a short break.
Do you suffer with pain, numbness, and tingling in the hands or feet? Commonly diagnosed as peripheral neuropathy? Are you taking drugs such as Lyrica or gabapentin that have serious side effects and often do not relieve your symptoms? Your doctor has told you you may just have to live with the pain. Peripheral neuropathy is a result of damage to the nerves, often causing burning, weakness, pain, numbness, tingling, and the most debilitating balance problems. Our facility uses multiple therapeutic methods to help give you relief from neuropathy symptoms with no injections and no drugs. You may start seeing relief after only a few sessions. To determine if your neuropathy symptoms can be relieved, we will do a consultation to evaluate the extent of your condition. Call us today to schedule your neuropathy consultation to find out if you're a candidate for our therapy. Call today.
You've got this. You didn't think your sister would take you up on the dog sitting offer, but here you are. Barriers purchased. Doggy distractions, no expense spared. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with $50 overdraft grace zone. So when you have to make a purchase, or 7, to prepare, you can be sure we're looking out for you, so you can look out for him. You've got this with Associated Bank.
Our phones keep us constantly connected.
Please switch to airplane mode.
But what if they had a mode to help us actually connect? Introducing Us Mode, a mode that makes our phones less distracting, so we can focus on quality time. So the notifications we get are the ones that matter. So we're never distracted from what's most important. Visit US Cellular in-store or online to set up Us Mode for free, even if you're not a customer. US Cellular, built for us.
As a veteran of our country's armed services, you have already made the ultimate sacrifice. Through no fault of your own, you may be experiencing hardships, such as the inability to pay rent, utilities, or receive other life-sustaining services. The Veterans Rental Assistance Program was created by and for people living in Wisconsin. No Wisconsin veteran should ever have to face homelessness or lose heat, power, or water again.
We've got a lot of news to cover tonight. Our CBS News global investigation. Tonight, the Russian paramilitary group Wagner has been the force behind some of the bloodiest fighting in Ukraine. We follow the money to uncover the exploitation in Africa that's footing the bill. Tonight on the CBS Evening News.
Gary rejoins us. Final check of the evening forecast.
Kind of hazy out there right now. Here's the live view from the WISC-TV Skycam and the Platteville-Queen Bee Radio Skycam. Pretty much the same story. It's warm out there, at least in the Madison area, but high-resolution radar doesn't show any rain out there right now. It's possible there could be an isolated shower that pops up along a cold front that's actually coming in from the northeast. Look at the difference in temperatures. Milwaukee, 55. Madison, almost 80, and it's in the 80s to the west.
We'll be back in 30 minutes. More updates on News 3 Now at 6.